Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going over kind of a melding of the project that I had started with you and then the one that I found for the candy shop. Alright, hopefully I'll do three things today, and I'm hoping to get all three of them done before noon, so I'm finished. The first is we're going to talk about the different things in the view folder. Okay, that's going to necessitate us talking about partial views and components as well. So I'm hoping to get all those done. Now I'm using Camtasia, which means I'm not using the internet. Yesterday morning, my internet connection kept going down. It went down so many times that I had to actually go into Rankin and broadcast from there. Well, today, hopefully we're not going to have the same thing. So here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my shared folder. All right, you can notice in there we've got what's called a ball partial, which we'll get into in a bit. We've got a components folder in there and a components folder in here. We're going to talk about all these, okay? All right, but for now I want to talk about our layout file. Okay, and again, like I said, I'm kind of stealing some of the stuff from stealing some of the stuff from the candy shop. So let's see what we've got here. Doc type, yeah, this is all the standard stuff. All right, the view data, it's not going to hurt anything the way that it is. Now I'm looking, I never understand this, why this is red, kind of maroonish, and this is reddish, which always makes me wonder if I screwed something up here. But I don't think I have. All right, because if we look under lib, which would be under www root, and if we go under lib, and we go under bootstrap, and dist, and CSS, you can see we've got bootstrap.css. Now, I don't see bootstrap.min.css under there, so I'm going to check, because I want to make sure that I've got access to it. All right, so let's do that. And I think I'm working with BallStore right now, I believe at least. Yes, I am. Let's just look and see if indeed that file is there. So, lib, where was the, sorry, let's see. So lib bootstrap dist, and then CSS. Now there's a ton of stuff in here that doesn't show, but you can see I do have bootstrap.min.css in here. All right, so that should be www root, which is the tilde, lib bootstrap dist CSS. So tilde lib bootstrap dist CSS, that looks correct to me. Now this right here, this CSS site that's in there, that's just the one that is right here, okay? And this BallStore styles, I don't even know what that's from, so I'm going to get rid of that. Now, back in the day when this candy store was done, you were using an earlier version of Bootstrap, so you had to, excuse me, you had to put in there your jQuery files. You don't have to do that anymore, all right? But we should put in our JavaScript. And do I have that down here? I do. I've got it way down here. I'm going to move this up to the top and check on it, make sure I've got everything in there that I want. All right, so again, lib jQuery dist. I guess we do have jQuery min. All right, and we've got our bootstrap bundle min.js, and this is the local one, which again, we're probably not going to put anything at all in there. All right, so this is what I have right now, and it looks pretty doggone ugly, to be honest with you. It really and truly does. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to at least try to do this, and that is I'm going to grab my body and my HTML. This is going to result in a lot of errors. All right. Just like this, and I'm going to paste that in here. Then I'm going to take everything else that's down here, and for now at least, I'm going to comment it out because I want to see if what I'm about to do is going to make this better or worse. All right, and again, as I mentioned, I'm not claiming anything here. All right, I'm using what is in the candy store as kind of a template. All right, so this is going to be our net bar. All right, and I want to do this nice and slow, not because I'm trying to take up time. I just don't want to screw it up. All right, so in this nav bar, we're going to have another container. All right, and in here we'll have another div, which will be our nav bar header. We'll leave it like that, I think. Now, whatever we name in here, of course, is something we're going to have to use down below as well, so I will in a bit. All right. Simplification. And then we'll need 3 more spans with the bars, so that'll make our hamburger menu. Like I said, we'll need 3 of those, so let's just copy them. All right. All right, then under our header, we're going to have another div. And again, we want this to be responsive, so that's why we're doing this. This name right here, of course, this name must be the same as the name up here. But the only thing is I don't put in the pound sign. There we go. So these two things must be identical. This is referencing this, in other words. Now I'm going to access some stuff that we're going to go over later, so if it doesn't make a lot of sense, please don't let that worry you for right now. All right, and that is like right here, we're going to actually put in a weight in here. All right, we're going to end up having two of these in just a second. Here we're going to have another 08. And underneath that, we're going to have a partial. Now, the reason that you have partials is because when you do, you are able to go in and share code, all right, amongst different things. And that's what we want to do in here. All right, so under our nav here, let's finish this up. There's not real much to go here. That should hopefully be our logo. That's going to come up. Now you'll notice this is taking 3, so a quarter of the screen area, for lack of better words. Then we're going to have another div. And that'll be our render body. And finally, we're going to have that line that we had in here, that render scripts false without the await. And it's just a render section. It's not an async. So at render section, I'm sorry. Scripts required false. Now let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't break anything. This may look pretty ugly. I don't know. Keeping the old stuff down there in case it did break. Of course, it says login partial was not found. Well, that means we didn't create that yet. Okay, so when I look under what is here, under my shared folder, I'm going to have quite a few things. How's that? So let's put those in right now. All right, so the first one is this login partial. So let's put that in. Let's first look and see if we've got it. So let me close a bunch of this stuff to make it a little easier to read what's going on here. We'll look at the components in a moment. But again, I want to look at what's under here. So you can see we've got a ball partial, but we don't have a login partial. Let's create that right now. All right, so that is under shared. I'm going to add a view. It's going to be a razor view empty. And since it's a partials start with an underscore. So underscore login partial.cshtml. We don't need the garbage that's there, so let's get rid of it. All right, and this is where we're going to start putting in some of the stuff for our, it's login. So this is the stuff we're going to be putting in for our authorization and authentication. And you can see I'm getting a bunch of errors. We're going to fix those in momentarily. All right, like I said, we've got a bunch of errors here. But if I look here, it says the typer namespace could not be found. All right, and I believe, now again, I could be wrong here, but I don't think that I am. All right, and let me look at something here first. I want to double check. I think that we want to add this through here. So I'm going to go into Tools and NuGet Package Manager, Manage Packets for Solution. I think there's something in here. if I browse for ASP identity, I think that's the one I need. Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.identity. I think that's what's missing here. We're going to see. Now you'll notice the latest stable version is 2.20. It says it's deprecated. Let's see if this even installs. Now it's giving me a bunch of errors. Don't worry about that. The good news is it looks like it's in here. All right, so if I go to installed, well, let's do this. Let's close this and open it again, as you've seen me do many times. So now under installed, there's Microsoft ASP.NET Core Identity. All right, and that is, I believe at least that's what we wanted. So let me close this, and this should hopefully bring up a using statement that we're going to need. Well, let's try it. Using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.identity. All right, and you notice those errors are now gone. So I think we put in the right package. All right, this is pretty short, so let's get this in here. All right, so it's saying if we're logged in. Now we don't have an area right here. We're going to add one later. So we could end up getting an error here. I don't know. Let's put it all in, and then we'll go back and try to debug it. Put this on multiple lines. Okay, that actually all belonged together there, so maybe I should do that. Come on, stop it. Jeez Louise. Again, this is going to run off the page, and that's why I'm moving it over. All right, in English, what we're attempting to do here is to build a form, as you can hopefully tell. And we're attempting to basically go in and add the login stuff to our nav bar. All right. And doesn't like this, so we'll have to look at that in just a bit. Okay. Let's move this down a line. All right, so the idea behind this is, hopefully at least what we're going to get in here is when you're logged in, it's going to come in, it's going to say, so if it's me, it's going to say, hello, JP Scott, with an exclamation point there. All right, now I'm getting errors here. It says cannot convert from string to this, and this one here says cannot convert from anonymous type to string. I believe it's correct the way it is, but I want to double check just to be sure. Okay, that should just be at URL page here. All right, well, there you go. That fixed that. All right, and I think the rest is all okay. Now, this is going to necessitate us putting in an area and some stuff in there. We'll do that in a little bit. All right, so we've got one list item in here, and let's put in another one. Yeah, it's going to be pretty big here. And as you can see, that'll give us our ability to log out. All right, so that's that. Okay, so that basically would be if we were logged in. All right, but otherwise, we have to provide them with the opportunity to register and or log in. So I'm going to just copy this one down because it's going to look the same, except it's going to say login. So this will be account login with login. Now I believe, I don't know if this is going to show me any errors right now. It's not. But I believe if I ran it, it's going to break. And it's going to break because we do not have in here, we do not have an area with some stuff, with the appropriate stuff in there. Now I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to see if I can put that in right now. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here under BallStore. I'm going to right mouse click and choose to add a folder that is called areas. Technically, this isn't the way you're supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it like this anyway. In here, we're going to add another folder that's going to be called identity. All right. In that identity, we're going to have two things. First, we're going to have another folder that's going to be called pages. And we're going to have, I've never created something like this before, so let's see. Oh, this is going to be interesting anyway. All right. We're also going to create in here, I'm going to put all of it in right now. Okay. So inside of here, like I said, we've got a thing in here that is called pages. We're also going to have something in here. I'm not sure if this is a file I should create or not, but I'm creating it anyway. All right. Let's see. This is going to be a class. And it's going to be called Identity Hosting Startup. .cs. We'll see if this even works. This seems to me like it should be a system class that should be created for us, but we'll see. And yeah, we wanted to go from not iStartup, but from iHosting Startup. All right, which hopefully just says we're going to need a using here. Implement the interface. Well, we're going to put that in right here. So at the top here, I'm going to add, again, I'm grabbing this, and this is from a 3.1, so it may not even work. Right. And like I said, not sure if this is going to work or not, so, but we're trying it anyway. That's what they show in the candy shop itself. Okay, so we've got that in there right now. The good news is it's not showing us any errors. The bad news is this was, remember, was built for 3.1, so this may have changed since then. And if it has, it has. All right, under the pages, first thing we're going to do here is we're going to create 3 files. All right, and this is just really a piece of work. And like I said, this is the bad thing is I'm doing this. The one file that scares me is this validation scripts partial. Okay, because I'm not sure if it's going to be outdated or whatever. It probably is. So the first thing we want to do is inside of pages here. All right, I'm going to come in and put a view start. And this is a view. I don't know how it's going to take this, so let's see. I think what I'll do is I'll come down here where we've got our view imports and our view start, and I'm going to copy those, and I'm going to put them in here. Okay, so let's first go into the view start, and this layout, of course, is going to be different. This is going to be under /views/ shared/ underscore layout .cshtml. In other words, we're pathing it here. All right, that looks good. And let's look at our view imports next. Don't know if we're going to need any of these, to be honest with you. This tag helpers, we're not going to be adding our own tag helper in here. We're going to add it someplace else. So we don't need that. Whoops. I'm going to come in here and try to do something. So I'm going to come in here and do add using. Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Identity. Another at using BallStore.areas.identity. And another that's going to look like that, but it's going to be identity pages. All right. And we've got our add tag helper, so we're able to use tags. Now, this is meant to be here, so let's see. It says the name pages does not exist. Are you missing a namespace? Add using Microsoft ASP.NET Core Identity using BallStore Areas Identity using BallStore Areas Identity pages. I said that should be giving me this one, should be giving me this, and this one should be giving me this, which is, of course, it's not. It doesn't look like it's giving me any, are you missing an assembly reference? So you can see when I do come in and say BallStore's BallStore.areas.identity dot, and then no, it's not showing me anything. So this page is maybe set up wrong. I'm not sure. Lovely. I'm going to leave it as it is. So I'm going to put in pages, even though it has that error. That's okay. All right, I'm going to leave that like this. Now, there is a validation scripts partial that was in there that we don't have. All right, so I'm going to come in and try to copy that. Like I said, the biggest problem with coming in and trying to copy this is it could be outdated. But I'm going to try it anyway. So I'm going to come in here, pages. I'm going to say add an existing item. And I'm going to come, I believe this is my downloads, candy shop, areas, identity. Thought I already had that. There it is, identity hosting startup. Then in the pages, we've got, this is the one I would want here. The view scripts partial. Like I said, there could be errors in there. If there are, I apologize in advance. So let's come back in here. And the other thing we want to do inside of this pages folder is we want to create, yes, another folder. That folder will be called account. All right. And it will have in it lots of files, unfortunately. All right. So the first one we're going to have in here is going to be logout.cshtml. Now, when you look in here again, it's not allowing me to come in and put in the kind of files I'd like. So again, I'm going to come back into here and I'm going to do an account, add existing item, and I'm going to try to come back to the same place I was just at. And I'm going to try to grab these. Now, I'm looking at this. Well, I'm just going to try to grab all of it. How's that? Okay, now it's still giving me that error, but I was hoping that might have fixed it, but it didn't. So in here, let's look at what we have. Let's see. Not seeing any errors, which almost is kind of slow. There we go. Interface. Let's see what we have here. Oh yeah, we got a few errors. It says pages does not exist. Are you missing an assembly reference? Well, it must be the way that I brought this in. Must be incorrect. I manually put that in there. This was my biggest worry, was we'd start coming in here and I'd have error after error after error, which isn't going to help any of you. Alright, just trying to fix these errors here. There are 3. 2 of them here are under email sender. It says the namespace could not be found. Are you missing a directive or assembly reference? Looks like here it says install package Microsoft ASP.NET Core.identity.ui. So let's try to add that. There's a MSP ASP.NET Core Identity UI. So I'm going to try to install that. All right. Now, still giving me an error, but hopefully now I can put in that using statement. And of course, it's not there. So I installed it. Find and install with Package Manager. I just did that. Now I'm going to uninstall it and try to reinstall it and see what happens. Latest 8. Accept. It's telling me that it needs an interface. Install package. I don't want to install this Castle Core. I just installed this. Microsoft ASP.NET Core.identity.ui. Let's double check. All right, I want to see if that one is in here. Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.identity.ui. It's right there. Well, I'm 49 minutes in. I'm going to pause for just a moment here. I'm going to try to investigate this and then come back.